In Illuvium, you were mine. Ranger and Illuvials, side by side. I signed your name for the fight. Chased that cash prize in the night. You shook your head, you would not go. I said just once and made it so. Now that arena owns the scene, and I can't scrub it from my screen. You trusted me with your light. I turn it into a knife. Now every step I take feels like a vow I break. I lost my partner. I lost my partner. No prize in my hand, just blood on the sand. I lost my partner. I lost my partner. I called you to war, and now you're here no more. They dragged you in, you fought for me, even when your eyes said please. Then the match went cold and cruel, and I watched you pay my rule. No winnings came, no coins, no cheer, just an empty room and shame right here. Your color's gone, your voice is still stuck in the wreckage I can't heal. You trusted me with your light. I turned it into a knife. Now every step I take feels like a vow I break. I lost my partner. I lost my partner. No prize in my hand, just blood on the sand. I lost my partner. I lost my partner. I called you to war, and now you're here no more. If I could stray that night, I would burn my name tonight. Let the whole arena know I was wrong to let you go. Now I'm split apart in half. Out past the cracked glass plane, we step where the wild ones wake. Your shadow at my heel, my hand on a glowing shard. They come with burning eyes, we come with steady breath. One
Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. We're going to be touching on Illuvium Deathmatch in just a couple of moments here. Our third stream ever with Deathmatch since its release. We've got a handful of things we're going to be trying out. Of course, I just figured out a little bit more about how the Graveyard Collection, how I guess the Soul System kind of works a little bit. So I will be putting some Illuvials in there that I know I need for the Graveyard Collection. Some of them are going to be just regulars. There's a couple of extra Holos for some of those Illuvials that I do have an abundance of Holos for. So we'll fill up the graveyard as best as possible, see what kind of score level we can hit ourselves today, and just have a fun time doing it. Maybe we can open up a few packs and whatnot as well. Wolverine, Kirito, good to see you. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Should be a fun one overall. Going to be very quickly hopping into Deathmatch. So, for the longest time, of course, this Graveyard Collection, I think it's probably been up for maybe, what, 2 weeks at this point? But I've never truly understood really how it worked, and the way that I at least get it for myself now, or at least understand it a little bit for myself now, is that you're gaining points based off of basically trying to get one of every single Illuvial, the species and the evolution stage. You essentially want to kill them off, oddly enough. So we can fill the graveyard that way. Like what we can see here with the tier 0s, I've completed this thing a handful of times as well. And the more, from what I understand, I don't think completing the set of 3 per se give you points. I could be wrong about that though. But then in regards to the full collection itself, if you complete the tier, you then get a bunch of points right there. Like, personally, I'm right around the corner from potentially getting the tier 0s completed for what would be my 11th time, but I'm missing an Exalted Flish, so we're going to be kind of stuck there for the time being, but that's okay. Oddly enough, the Axodons that I have are all Holo, so they don't actually count towards this. Jacob Odak, good to see you. Absolutely, start a happy time, 100%. Let's have a good one. You need the full set of the tier. Yeah, so getting individual ones may not necessarily make a dent in regards to points, but even if it's still just, say, if I got one piece of the tier, I'm still going to fire them off anyway, just for the sake of collection. Looks like I'm missing a Gyro here as well to truly get this one going. And what I've already done preemptively before the stream is I've taken all of my extras and I've dump them into Deathmatch here. I've got a handful of Illuvials already set up and good to go. Not all of them are necessarily needed for the graveyard, but we'll definitely still fire off a couple, maybe a couple big hitters to try and get a new Bone Collector high score, sort of speak. But I don't know, everybody's been kind of crazy so far over the last couple of days in the free mode, where throwing in a tier 3, oddly enough, might be at a bit of a disadvantage compared to some of the stuff that people are throwing in. Some are still winning, like, as you would expect, in regards to, like, lower tier stuff, but, like, say a Slashin', for example, coming on through. I've seen a handful of crazy stuff, maybe not over the last couple of minutes, but I've seen tier 4s, tier 5s all getting thrown into the free mode. Heck, myself also willing to throw in a couple for the sake of the graveyard. But yeah, we'll fill this up as best as possible. Looks like I'm right around the corner from getting some more points for the links. And considering you get, like, this is actually kind of crazy, actually. You get, what, 3,700 points just for completing the links line? You get the linkses in abundance in packs nowadays, so that's actually a very easy obtainable one for maybe some looking to level up their leaderboard spot. I do not have a Gnarl that I am willing to sacrifice, so we are going to skip that one. Same thing here with the Seer. I had an extra Seer, but I saw that we needed Seers in the Community Rescue, so I sent my Seer to the Community Rescue instead. We now have 2 of them. And then oddly enough, I only have 1 Flood, so not going to be sending that off. And then tier 5s, while there was a couple of extras that came from some Deathmatch packs, but they've either all gone to the Community Rescue, and the few that I have were the ones that I did have a rather abundance amount with, so tier 5 is probably going to be a little bit rich for my blood, but we'll still work with what we got. I'm going to be taking a peek into the Holos because there are a couple of Illuvials where I do have an abundance of Holos for. So the Greater Fire Dolgas, a couple of these tier 0s we can absolutely fill in. It might not score us points, but that's okay. We'll still do it anyway. we will be able to complete the entire axolotl line once I throw an Atlas in there, oddly enough. But again, you need to fill up the entirety of the tier 0, or not the tier 0, the tier 1 pool before you actually get any points for that. So, even though I'm going to be filling some of my graveyard bingo cards, so to speak, there's no say that I'm going to be actually gaining any points right now, but still getting at least a little bit of progression towards the Holo side of things here as well. I can see this being something kind of fun that I can do once Obelisk Rising comes out, and I'm more willing to just farm constantly, and maybe I come across Holos just that much easier. This will be really fun here for me in that regard. But for now, got a couple of them in abundance. We'll do the work there. Hector, good to see ya. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Without further ado, we'll get into the battle. Let's start things off with a bang, actually. Let's fire off one of the Holos. Now, Holos in Deathmatch did get a buff, I think a couple of weeks ago, where a Holo gives you, I believe it's 15% bonus stats compared to a non-Holo variant, and then Dark Holo, I believe, is 30%, so it's even higher. So even though I'm working with a handful of tier 1s for the most part here for Holos, there's a good chance that we can go on a little bit of a run here, and maybe start collecting some bones a little bit. That's going to be the dream. As always, a forewarning before we do get into anything in regards to Illuvium Deathmatch. This is a reminder, of course, that at the end of the day, these Illuvials do have technically real-life monetary value, and of course just emotional value here as well. For the love of God, do not spend more or play with Illuvials you are not willing to lose, because 99% of the time, you're going to end up losing this thing. At the end of the day, this is gambling in heart, and want to make sure that you do please play responsibly. So first things first, what I'm going to end up doing here personally, every single time I'm getting ready to go to the free mode, before I even set foot into play, I'm taking a look at the recent results because I want to see where everybody's putting their stuff. In fact, me probably saying this is going to probably hurt me a little bit for long term, but this is kind of what I'm looking at. For example, like I see over the last like 6 matches or some odd, it seems like there's a lot of emptiness right now towards, say, the top left and the top, or the top left and the bottom left. So my chances of getting either a one-on-one that if I'm using a Holo I might have an advantage in, and in winning that one, not guaranteed of course, because I could absolutely run into a killer, but that is one way to do it. And then another part that also comes into fray is you see the yellow dots on the board here. Of course, that's showing the winning or the positioning of the winning player. So if I see that the winning player is on the left-hand side for the most times, I'm going to be thinking that maybe there's enough players that are just setting them off into that side, and maybe I should avoid it. Now, of course, that's just more so of theory, so to speak, because these players could be throwing them in randomly with the bulk randomizer. Or they could be straight up farming that location. They have a batch upload or a batch deployment, and they're going to be staying in that spot over and over and over again. Like one of the things I'm seeing right here, for at least right now, there seems to be one person right on this left-hand side every single time, and they're not winning. So that is telling me anyway that there could potentially be somebody just keeping to the left-hand side, getting killed over and over again. So I'm actually going to inspect the replay to see who that player is, because I don't want to throw myself into a trap, and it's going to be BLS. Now, BLS, I know, because they just crushed me last night, actually, when I was playing a little bit. They are completely A-OK bulk adding tier 1 Illuvials into one position. So what I'm going to try and do here today, I'm going to make this absolutely no secret. I'm going into this battle thinking I'm going to find BLS, thinking that I'm going to find them in that left-hand side, thinking that I'm going to find them with the tier 1. Now again, there is no guarantee that this is actually going to be what ends up happening here. Heck, some of you at home might be able to jump in and just absolutely snipe me before I even do this, and we can have an absolute cluster on the left-hand side. But we're going to start this off anyway. Gonna look for one of my holos here. I saw the Caradulo. This is the one I'm thinking about right now. I'm going to put it right there. And we're going to see what we can do here. I would love for this Caradulo, especially since it's a holo, to walk away with a couple of rounds of survival. But again, you never know what could end up happening here. At the end of the day, it's all chance, it's all risk. I can micromanage and overthink the process as much as I want. It's not going to guarantee me anything. Like, look at this here. We've got freaking Blazonite coming on through here from Fury. A holo one at that. That's actually a solid Blazonite, 61 TPI as well. So, damn. Like, my god. It's a scary time here. Now, this stream is going to be a little bit more chill in nature. Personally, I haven't been necessarily feeling 100% over the last couple of days. In my own head, psyching myself out to the point where my blood pressure is going higher, even though I'm on medicine for this. So that is kind of crazy. So I'm going to be trying to take it a little bit easier. I'm okay, but just having a little bit of an off day, so to speak. But we're still going to have a fun time nonetheless here. One thing that I found rather interesting, I'm going to take a look at a standard replay while we're waiting for our match to load on up here. But the jackpot for standard mode, that thing's all the way up to 15k. Skulls. So that's what, 150 bucks right now? Yeah, just about 150 bucks. That jackpot has not been won for about 12 days now, so almost 2 weeks. I know the amount of standard games have slowed down at least a little bit, but I didn't think it was that bad. Just we've not necessarily gotten lucky with actually hitting this jackpot. And then personally, I'm not going to lie, if I had a little bit of extra funds that I was willing to go through the entire crypto hassle to do, I'd definitely try my hand. It's starting to get into some, like, decent money all around. Of course, 150 bucks too, that's also in US dollars, so as a Canadian, I see that, and I'm like, oh, that's a little bit of extra bonus on top too. But I cannot be damned to actually use a crypto transaction and get money into the game, so... If it was a credit card, it would be dangerous, but you can't do that in Canada. I was gonna say, in this battle that we're seeing here from a replay from not long ago, that's going to be Tipsy, who's been absolutely crushing it on the leaderboards for Deathmatch for the last couple of days as well, or the last couple of weeks even. And yeah, their Illuvials are extremely, extremely good. I believe Wolverine just called it out there as well. That was a Dark Holo Kukaraf. So even though that's still a tier 1, but that's fully evolved, it's got the bonus stats from the Holo. And of course, here real quick, fire on through. Looks like our match ended up going without me, so we'll get the replay on that in a second. Here, I'm not going to reveal. We're going to actually just watch this one. Yeah, Kukaraf's a little bit of an upset maker in standard mode, I do believe. I find it kind of funny. Whenever I tried doing standard, I wouldn't mind throwing in a Kukaraf to just absolutely wreck face. But let's take a look and see what we've got this time. Right now, my Caradulo, of course, this is a holo. So in theory, I should have a little bit more additional damage. However, Ratty Dad is actually the one I'm going up against. Their Illuvial is going to be a little bit better. Not around 38 TPI onto that one. But by getting chopped up by this damn Doka and the two supports here, the two empaths, I'm not even going to live to see the top 5. So it does not matter, like I was saying, just because I did all this analysis, just because I did all of this setup with a holo where I should in theory have an advantage, does not mean nothing if you get caught in the wrong position. So yeah, we're going to get absolutely dunked here in this first one. This still leaves the battle here for Tier 5 Stage 3 Holo, Tipsy, and Aqua Squawk. A couple of Deathmatch's big guns going to be finishing off the job here. That Apon's in a good spot for a decent little bit of AoE, but I believe the Valente should be able to just clean up rather nicely. Heard a little bit of a heal coming up from the Atipo, but the Valente barely even took a scratch. So even with a holo Caradulo in the fights here and a lot of decent Illuvials, it does not matter. It was a Stage 1 Tier 0 that wasn't even holo that won the game, and that's all just the luck of the draw. can absolutely rage and flip out about it, but that's not what this game is. It is completely random thanks to the positioning. If there was a game mode of sorts that, like, say one day maybe assigned positioning, that would be a little bit different. Like, similar to like a horse racing setup where, hey, player 1 sits in the top spot, player 2 in the other, the corner to the left, 3 corner to the right, or something along those lines. But that's not what this game mode is. So, we got absolutely cooked. But that does mean that we have another Illuvial into the graveyard now, and that's why I'm not disappointed. Now it's filled in. It's good. I just gotta eventually find a Holo Cartalox to fill that spot. I do have a Holo Cartalox, but the thing is I refuse to burn an Illuvial, a Holo Illuvial, that I don't have extras of. I'm not going to be, like, to me still, as an average gamer, trying to chase this leaderboard, for example, is the amount of bones that you get, like, per win, or not per win, but per week. The sentimental value of those Illuvials does not get outweighed by the rewards. So I am going to absolutely make sure that I keep at least one of every single Holo that I do have. We're going to throw one over to a standard color Illuvial. I do have a Lynx line that I can absolutely complete. And let's see, that last one we had a handful on the left-hand side. I think I'm going to try up in the top left. We should be able to slot right on in. That's why I didn't end up using my anti-stream snipe thingy. Because I feel like a Relentless Emberlink should be able to do majority of one-on-ones. Of course, there's a couple that absolutely it cannot. But I feel like it's an above-average chance, having that single-target burst damage, having the single target or your self-heal. You can pull through a couple of decent fights as long as you're just not completely outstatted. And then I'm going to be keeping an eye on standard mode here as well. As matches do finish, I'd love to be able to hop in and cast some because, like I was saying before, we are very close to potentially, or not very close, but the jackpot, rather, is pretty high for standards, or compared to standards average. Is Fury's Gnarl going to just be able to turn this one around here on Sniper? What is that app on? I mean, 76 TPI app on. It's not too bad. But again, yeah, I was going to say, there's no chance that Fury's not using a Holo here, right? Fair enough. 6-7 Holo. Jesus, that's going to be a little bit devastating. That app on, sure enough, will be cleaved through here. So even though Sniper had the advantage initially, the Gnarl does stand tall. Nice one. Okay, I was going to say our match with our Lynx should be coming up here in just a second's time, so we'll get with that one. Not a terrible spot. Squawk's Exalted Air Valente is going to be tough, but we do then have A to the G, who also is coming in here with the Valente, so I need that one of these Valentes to get blown up extremely quickly, or I am cooked. Did I get First Blood? I did, so even if this does go to hell, we do at least get another shot here with this Relentless Emberlynx. That definitely makes me a little bit pleased. Can we get a heal and some damage? We do escape that scenario. That was sketchy, but we got there. Good heal. I think we got the kill steal onto the Chuko here as well. We maybe rob Tier 5 Stage 3 Holo of this battle on the left-hand side. Stand tall. Don't mind my odds here if we can actually clean this up. Lynx at about half. Oddly enough, in this battle right here, I'm more scared of the Grocko. So I'm hating the fact that we have to go up against the Atlas first. Unless we can kill steal this. Nope, that does go over. Oh, that did go over to me, I think. So this isn't too bad. But look at how much damage the Grocko does. And this is the lesser Earth Grocko as well. This is just the Stage 1 variant, the baby. But thankfully, we do land the Omega. So there we go. Relentless Emberlynx is going to be able to score a win here. Let's get some bones into our pocket. We're very close now to potentially being able to open up a pack live here. Let's go. Old reliable. Gotta love the Lynxes. There we go. Yeah, we're up to 92 now. So we are very, very close. I think it's a 4th place now. Will actually allow us to score some... Score a... excuse me. Okay. I mean, that was a very sketchy start, right? That was a very rough one because the getting swarmed real quick was not a great spot. I'm very lucky that the Atipo actually came over to assist. How about this next battle here? We're going up against the Doka of BLS. I knew we'd find them eventually, and I like my odds here for this one. Now the big question is, where does my Lynx go after First Blood? We're going to be able to get the heal on the Omega as well as the kill. Can we get there in time to kill steal the Chuko? No, actually the Chuko girl is actually going to be the one ending up winning this fight. We're going to be in the top 5 for sure. I'm kind of happy to see this Lynx coming on over, and my Lynx thankfully did have its Omega saved. It lined up perfectly. It's going to be an absolute Lynx showdown here for this final 3, but a lot of damage coming my way to the point where I can't even get an Omega off. That relentless Lynx, if I can get a look at it later, we'll definitely do so, but it is going to be Halagon who is able to come in for the cleanup to get that win. Does their run end now? Of course, 50% chance at second or third place. It will be gone. So unfortunately, our Lynx is going to get taken out rather early here into this run. But Cyber said that Lynx was actually incredible, man. It did a very, very good job. A ton of damage coming up from that thing. And I think I see why. Look at that. Attack 5 out of 5. Absolutely crushed it compared, or was on the same page rather, as the Lynx that I was using, so it hit like an absolute truck. It was a valiant effort, but we will end up falling. But of course, that then does add another set of tier 3s. Or no, that wasn't Holo. That was over here. So eventually, this should be here and completed. Or it would have done so already and just didn't show up necessarily on the points just yet. Okay, complete to get 100 points. No, okay, that's correct then. So yeah, we were at 9,300, now we're at 94. So slowly but surely crawling our way back with some points. And if I wanted to do it again, I need to find another extra Lynx. Okay, well maybe we can pull one. We do have enough for a pack opening. That's exactly where my bones are going to go. Since I do not play standard, I do not save any bones for like the resurrection power-up that you can get. Where is it? Revival booster. Because if you were to get this thing and it was in a standard mode, if I recall correctly, if you add, say, where's the revival booster? It's literally just 5 bones. So for 5 bones, this basically makes it so you're for sure going to survive if you get top 3. And as long as you're using a good Illuvial, those chances are pretty high. But of course, I don't actually play standard, and there's no point in doing this for free mode because the odds are so low. So I don't mind just blowing bones on some more Illuvials. That's what I'm here for anyway. Let's see what we can score. This one's going to be a little bit of a unfortunate one, it looks like. I'll take the Greater Gorilla, but nothing that I would want to send off into my wallets for Arena. It's too low, unfortunately. And unfortunately, there's nothing from the graveyard that I'm looking for in that instance as well. So as Soto would say, it's just a pile of bones. I'm looking at a pile of bones for that one. Let's see, is there another one here in the graveyard for the non-holo types? I don't think there actually is. Majority of the ones I have, actually, that I need to burn off are going to be the holo variants. Let's start off from the top here with our Greater Fire Doka. Based off the positioning in that last one, it wasn't necessarily too bad, but I'm not sure. Maybe I do want to switch this up a little bit this time by. If it'll let me actually use it. Oh, I have to manually trigger it? That's no cool. Alright, we'll do it that way. Where do we want to go this time by? Try maybe something a little bit different here. Okay, there we go. Alright, little Doka. It is holo, so it's got a little bit of extra stats, but of course it is just a Doka, and we're past the patch where Dokas are absolutely broken and OP. So let's see how this goes. Positioning-wise, I'm not too disappointed. We're going to get the jump here onto a really low level or low TPI Twine, as well as this Doka coming on through. It's going to be very, very close. We do end up snagging the first blood, so that's a good start. We're going to get stunned up, but thankfully the stun happens prior to my attack speed buff coming on through. So the Twine should go down with relative ease. It's just a matter of where does my Doka target. I like that it's targeting the Ebb first, and so does the Vermilia. This is going to be a very beefy target that we're all going to have to kind of work together, but I imagine actually that this Grocko is going to come in and actually just straight up win the game. Doka going to do well, but now it is going to fall in third place to the Vermilia. And I'm still not even convinced that the Vermilia wins this one. Because Grokkos, I don't know what it is about them. They're the GOATs in the arena in regards to being tier 0s. They're very good here as well. But nope, the Vermilia is going to be able to take care of that one. Cybersaid going to win said matchup. Do we get another shot with our Doka? That's going to be the question, though. Of course, again, 50-50 chance where this thing lives or dies at third place. We're going to get another shot. There we go. So we score some bones, and we get to keep our Doka, keep our Holo. But Stinky Pinky's crazy Grocko. That thing's a 75 TPI, so that's a pretty good Grocko, all things considered. Nervous to go up against that one again, but let's see. Go the other way around, of course. Hello, Doka. There you are. Should be able to hop into one nice and quickly. Oh, sure enough, we're going directly up against the Grocko that I was nervous about. However, the Rye might be able to help me here. Let's see how this one goes. Of course, Grocko does have AoE on that Omega, so it's going to be able to chip away at the Rye at the exact same time. But can we 2v1 this thing in time for my Doka to live? I am not convinced, and sure enough, we will absolutely get annihilated there. In 8th place, no chance of revival. So thank you, Doka, for your service, but they will absolutely be going to the graveyard. As the Grocko and the Rye trade blows on the left-hand side, I imagine this Riptorus is probably going to tear through. Yeah, it's set up for a fantastic position. Rye basically doesn't even have an Omega, so this Riptorus will just absolutely shred it to bits. And is this thing hollow as well? Doesn't have to be, but no, this is Furious with a very solid little Riptorus. Yeah, Mozart going to confirm, of course, the death. There is no chance of actually surviving it if you're outside the top 3. So that'll be another one gone for the time being. Collected into the cycle. Now let's try our own Grocko. Got our own little baby Grocko to go this time. Standard at about an 8 out of 10 so far. If a match does come on through, I will gladly hop on over and rather cast it live, but if it has to be a replay where we might already know who the winner is, then it is what it is. Just let this one play out in the background. Yeah, you don't see very many matches like this anymore, in my opinion, where you see just a handful of tier 0s and maybe a couple tier 1s. Nowadays, there's somebody farming. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes that person is me, trying to farm on lobbies like this. But when two of us collide, it can make for a very rough time. Let's see how it goes this time by. We've got our little baby Grocko coming on through 60 TPI and hollowed out. But now we're going to immediately go against this Atipo, and that is going to be BLS coming on through alongside Tapiao and that little Doka. Does this Grocko reach the Doka? It does not, so we're going to be very hurt, and I think the Doka actually stole the kill, so we're not going to get the heal there. On the other side, it's an absolute bloodbath to the point where I think these fighters are just going to take each other out. If we can somehow hold on just a little bit, we're going to at least get into the points, and we do, but can we stay alive? We're not going to be able to. That is going to be the little Doka come on through from Tapiao. But now, once again, has to go up against Halagon, but this little Riptor is ready to rock. I imagine it's going to get the kill shot right here. There it goes. Halagon with the win into this one. We're going to get 4th, however, that's going to mean the for sure death of our Graco. So, absolutely hate to see it, but unfortunately it is what it is there. Yep, doing okay so far. Any other considerable deaths here? I mean, the fact that this Heady managed to survive off the first blood's definitely very, very lucky. But otherwise, it looks like it's just a bunch of tier 0s and tier 1s. So that was a rather quiet lobby that just did not have the firepower to get through that Doka. Well, runaway kitten. All right. So we did lose our Graco. We can wrap up our run with tier 0s. Things are just going to get spicier the longer this stream goes. And with higher tier Holos coming on through. I do not have many, to be fair. But we'll go as best as we can. So next up is going to be the Air Valente. So we at least have a little bit of firepower this time. But how much so? That is going to be the question. And can we stay safe? That's the big thing, at least personally, I find with the Valente, is it's fantastic at picking up kills, but as soon as that fight turns into a 2v1, you are so screwed, it's not even funny. Yeah, it's matches like these that get me very scared about free mode sometimes, because look at this, Yin and Yang with a beautiful Frorus coming on through to try and just take over this lobby. I mean, they're completely within their own right to do that. They're taking an Illuvial that is a very sought-after Illuvial. Probably a little bit on the pricier side as well, with it being a tier 5 middle stage evolution. And probably going to win a handful of games, but they needed to win a handful of games and play a bunch of rounds to find value. Otherwise, you're throwing away a very strong Illuvial if it gets killed off. It was a perfect case scenario there for Yin and Yang that time. So let's see how their run goes. I'm going to have to keep an eye for them as we get into our next battle, which this position does not disappoint me, actually. Our Valente is going to get the jump onto this Kuka right up in the top, but we are going to be immediately met by a TB-Ruko, or a T-Ruro, and this thing is probably one of the scariest Illuvials to meet early in a one-on-one. However, it's getting jumped. The Doka from behind is actually going to save my Valente big time. Can we get the kill shot? No, the attack speed from the Doka is going to get it, but now we can shoot through that Doka like it's nobody's business. There we go. This little Valente is looking pretty good. Let's get at least into the top 3. Did we go for the center one of all things? That's actually some pretty rough positioning, because that should, in theory, mean I'm going to get double teamed now here into this final stage. We need a good Omega. That was a pretty decent Omega, all things considered. We need the kill on the Lallura. We do get it. Now it is down to this one-on-one here with Ratidata, but that is going to be a 6-7 cling coming on through. It will clean me up in just a matter of time, but a solid effort there from the Valente, getting us all the way up to second. Beating the odds versus a lot of early, like, high DPS Illuvials, but just unfortunately running into a brick wall that is that cling at the very end. Do we get another round out of? Yeah, we do. So there we go. We're going to scoop some bones and we can do it again, little Valente. Nicely done. Yin and Yang's Lura able to come on through here, as well as the lesser Valente from Tipsy that scored first blood. The T-Roo, of course, dying, definitely going to be sad here as well, but we'll take those while we can. Alright, I need to get back into the graveyard. Holoed, Greater Air Valente. We should put it dead center. Nothing could go wrong there, right? Like, I genuinely wonder if there's ever any reason to not go on the outside. I feel like the inner circle or the center and the inner ring are just both absolute traps for people that are just not paying attention. And to punish those players that are just hitting random on the bulk ad, for example, just to scoop and like really like wreck some people's day. Because yeah, I do not see a world where being on the inside is actually valuable. You would have to get so lucky that nobody else is nearby. I know personally I just don't like that idea. Alright, Valente, let's see what you can do. Second time around. I don't mind this positioning whatsoever. We have a perfect line, actually, to go all the way through. If we can at least get rid of this Valente. Of course, I believe that's an Exalted, or at least a Greater. It's going to be a Greater Flish. It's from Squawk, so it's going to be relatively powerful here as well. And there's a chance that the Valente does not actually win this one. It's going to come down close. We need the crits in our favor. We are going to be able to get it. But now I think the Atipo is going to be able to take us down unless the Cling can help save us a little bit more. We're going to make it into the pricing. We're going to make it into the top 4, but I don't see us making it into the top 3. We will absolutely not be able to do so. We do get a T-Po'd, but there is still now this battle at hand. Matango and the Greater Fire. Doka looking like they're in a fantastic spot. Cleans up the one. The Atipo's not going to be able to stand this fight. It will go down very quickly. Nice little sweep here for Matango. They don't get first blood, but a nice little cleanup there. Which means our Valente is absolutely cooked. It will be done, but I'm happy to have gotten 2 rounds out of it at the very, very least. Yeah, for sure going to be a death. There is no way out of there, so we will be taking the L, but we're also going to be taking 8 bones alongside that. So we're going to get very close to 50, basically halfway through another pack. Scoop this to the Holo variant. And that does mean we are done with our tier 0s to add to the graveyard collection here. Again, no points actually going to be awarded for the individual Illuvials themselves. It only matters once you've completed the entire collection, do the entire tier. So that's why for the tier 2s, we were able to get an additional 100 points for the non-Holo variant earlier. Okay, I see what I messed up earlier. So when I was looking at the color version, and I got really excited for a second. I'm like, wait a second, you get 3,000 points for completing it? No, this is just showing how many times I've completed it. And all the points that I've earned because of doing so. Which makes a lot more sense because, again, you're only trying to get 3 Illuvials at this point, right? So it's much easier to hit compared to some of these other divisions or other tiers. So let's move into the tier 1s. We're going to bring in our Atlas. It will fill up the rest of the Axolotls. But again, not going to be able to score the points just yet, but I'll gladly fire them on through. Let's see, little Axolotl, where should we go today? Now, I've seen Axodons and Axons do pretty good, especially when they are Holo, at being just an unkillable AoE machine. But I've not necessarily seen Atlases perform to that level, of course, with it being the baby form. So, we'll see. I'm curious as to how this will go. Standard still at an 8 out of 10, so nothing new there just yet. And what was the latest matchup actually here for the global results? It would have been 2 hours ago, so yeah, standard mode has definitely slowed down rather considerably. I'm definitely thankful that the free mode is always going with games. Because yeah, if I were to have a dedicated stream for Deathmatch and every match would take 2 hours to get to, that wouldn't be a good stream. You'd hear me yapping a lot more than normal, but we'd make do. Okay, this is an absolute mess and a worst case scenario here for my little Atlas. It's going to be, I believe, triple teamed unless that Chuko goes for the Lynx instead, which I do believe it did, but we are going to get popped so quick. That's not even funny. Holo don't mean nothing when there's a million Illuvials directly on top of you. So we're going to be the first one out of this fight, but how about the rest of the battles here in question? Akiradulo doing a good job in the bottom, holding that Monk here and Vermilia alive. How about that Ace, though, getting the third party in onto the Doka and the Lynx? That Lynx may have gotten the kill, but it's still so low on HP. That Ace coming out here from Cyberset. Looks like it's in a great spot. Going to get the kill and then potentially third party in onto this Monk here. One more shot. Does it get it? And sure as hell does. So that Vermilia is going to be the one-on-one contender here up against this Ace Halagon with the 35 TPI Vermilia versus the 74 TPI Ace from Cyberset. Lots of stats, lots of health, lots of things going the way of Cyberset here in this one. And they are 100% going to clean things up there. Nicely done there, Cyberset. But yeah, in regards to my own Illuvial, they got absolutely cooked. Immediately dogpiled on and will be out of here at 10th and will be killed off. Now, in regards to your question there, Alon, first off, good to see you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. So what these players are doing in this instance here is that they're, like, anteing in an Illuvial for these battles, and I guess that's kind of the bet in the game itself. In terms of actually betting on the Illuvial in the fight, I don't think there's a system for that, at least not first party. I don't know if there's a third party website that has individual betting for matches, because especially for the free mode, I do believe that maybe it moves a little bit too quickly. But say for, well, that'd be really, really rough too, because you don't technically know how, or which Illuvials are in the fight until the game starts. Because if you knew that information or had access to that information, that would actually be a very big problem. So, in terms of fight per fight, no, I don't think it is in the game. I don't think there's a third-party service or anything for it as well. And for the sake of integrity, I don't think there can be. However, if you want to hop on in here and snag a couple of Illuvials, throw it into the free mode, try and get some more packs similar to what we're doing here, you can absolutely do so. But as always, because of the chance-based nature of this game and the risk-based nature of this game, please do make sure you play responsibly. Do not overextend budget-wise. Do not play with Illuvials that actually mean something to you, because you will lose them. And I've seen way too many people get wrecked during the Counter-Strike gambling thing, the Counter-Strike skins. So just, again, always make sure you're playing responsibly. Okay, so we absolutely lost our Atlas, but we can still go to our next one here for the Graveyard. Next one on the list is going to be my Archie. I've got an absolute boatload of Holo Archies, so I did not mind sending one off to the Deathmatch in this instance. Let's see, that top left absolutely got me cooked in the last fight, so I think I'll make a switch over here. I'm not sure if it's going to be any better. Here's the thing, like, a lot of people are, if people are actually playing the game and watching their matches, which is the way I, at least personally, I love to do it, because I know there's a lot of people who will say take all of their tier 0s, tier 1s, or just take their Illuvials in general and just send bulk and then just come back later and see what they won. I hate playing like that. I always want to see my Illuvial in action, which very well could in turn mean that I watch it die, but then I can make adjustments fight for fight, whether it actually makes an impact or not. There are a few scary Illuvials into this one for my Archie to try and deal with. Thankfully, it's not going to be a first blood this time, but we're going to be able to crawl our way through. Our attack range and our AoE from our Omega puts us at a very good spot, to the point where this very scary Octius is going to be just out of range of us, but now I think we're going to get into the spot where you do have to contest it, and this Octius, I imagine, is going to clean things up alongside this Blotto. So our little Archie is going to be able to get into the top 3 just by third-partying in on other fights, which is absolutely awesome, but it will not go further than that. But how about this? Jub's Octius versus Cybersed's Crunk. The damage from the Octius, I think, is going to outweigh the tankiness of the Crunk. As soon as that shot comes on through, one more time, Octius will win that battle. Congratulations, Jub. But now, how the heck do we actually, or rather, do we actually get to use this Archie again? 50% chance to actually survive here. Mozart, come on, give me the goods. Let me use this Archie one more time. Please, by chance. Nope, we will end up losing it. So, again, that's a little bit rough. The Archie, the Holo as well. Of course, Holos in this game are the akin to Shinies in, say, something like Pokemon. So I absolutely am sad to see this Archie still go. I'm thankful I still have one in my own personal collection, so I was able to let this one go. But it doesn't mean I feel good about it. I'll take the third place prizing, take the 12 bones, get us closer to another pack, but not quite going to be there just yet. How do you get these animals into the inventory? My inventory is empty. So when you're just getting started off, if you're just strictly using Deathmatch, what you would end up having to do is going into Challengers. In theory, this area is empty, but right up to the left here, there is pack opening. This is where you can open things up with bones, which is the in-game currency for everything in regards to packs as well as some boosts. Whether it be the revival boosters or the resurrecting a dead challenger, that is one way you can do it. But then there's the skulls, which is the equivalent to IRL money. To be completely frank, like you can convert that into in real life currencies, and this is what's used for the entry fees for, say, standard mode, for example. But in regards to the pack opening, yeah, so the skulls, if your country allows it, you'd be able to then get packs by then getting some skulls or buying bones and opening packs that way. But if you want to just completely forgo the crypto currency route, because there is no natural way to use a credit card traditionally here onto Deathmatch, there is another way that you can get Illuvials. And I will show you exactly how to do that here. So if we quickly hop over onto my other display. Let me fix that real fast. Okay. So if we were on just the Illuvium website, right? So in order to get some from your inventory, if you're just looking to open packs strictly without crypto, just being able to use the traditional credit card style, one way you can do that is through fuel. You would be able to, let's see, where's the fuel option here? I always forget. So purchasing fuel. This is, I think, actually the best bang for your buck as well, because I do believe you still do get a bonus to the amount of fuel you get if you buy in bulk. Yeah, there is still bonuses here. So this fuel that you can get with your credit card could then go into an overworld auto drone run. And then when you go here, this is basically the exact same system that you see in Deathmatch, but this is just based off of auto world auto drones. Then once you open a pack, say here, what you can then do, once you've gotten some Illuvials, because they still won't show up in your inventory just yet, but if you then go to Deathmatch once again, let me full screen this again, and you went to My Challengers, it'll still be empty, but up in the top here, Deposit from Illuvidex. You will then be able to find all of your Illuvials by their species and how many you have. And this way you can then say, let me see if I can find an example here. Where's one of my links is? We've got our links. It shows the level, shows whether it's a holo or not, and how much power they do happen to have. I can then click on one. I'm not going to actually send it, but say I'm going to click on a link. It shows up on the right-hand side. Confirm it, and it will transfer that Illuvial over into Deathmatch for you to use, and that's why I have all these extra Illuvials, because these are extras that I had gotten from either my own collection or from auto drone runs that I've brought into the game, because I personally cannot stand actually using crypto. And then you send the animals to Deathmatch through the deposit from Illuvidex. Exactly. You got it. The reverse is also true as well. If you open a pack on, onto Deathmatch, but you really like the Illuvial, like say for myself, if I'm opening a pack, one of the things I'm looking for is if it's an upgrade to one of my Arena Illuvials. And one way I can do that, under this exact same Challengers menu, if you click on an Illuvial, you can send to wallet, and that throws it back into being able to be used for Arena, being able to be used potentially in the future for Obelisk Rising, the MMO, when that comes out. So that's how you send back and forth in regards to the Illuvials. Deathmatch is technically a different wallet, yeah. Yeah, I don't know the exact technological Web3's terminology, I guess, so to speak, but that's the gist of it, yeah. Basically, it plays almost like it's a different account, but you can kind of link your accounts in that regard. Yeah, my pleasure. Okay. The next Holo, the next Shiny to send to the graveyard, but at the same time trying to get some wins here still. Not just sending them in to die. I want them to be able to get a good run. It is going to be our little baby Kuka. We'll get that one over in just a second. My Gasatep will blind things for just a moment with its dust, as I try to figure out where the heck do I want to play this thing? Where do I want to position this thing, potentially? So we've had some decent starting locations. The fights themselves just haven't necessarily gone into our favor, per se. We'll give it a shot. I mean, we're at least getting the top 5, so we're still getting bones. But not keeping our Illuvial. And again, I still want to have multiple runs out of these Illuvials as possible. I don't like it when I just get a one and done. Especially since these are shinies. I'd love to get some value out of them before they end up going down. Alright, went back up to the top left just in case, and sure enough, we're going to be A-okay this time by. I am up against a pretty scary Lynx, though. I mean, 23 TPI. I think with the Holo, I should have the advantage. It looks like at least based off of basic attacks I do, but again, I don't have a big nuke as an AoE, or as an Omega. I just have healing and brief attack speed. We did get the kill, I think, onto that one, but now we're going one-on-one up against, I think that's Tier 3, or Tier 5 Stage 3 Holo. They have the damage advantage. They're getting a bunch of crits on me as well. We do get the stun. We're going to make the top 3, but I don't think we're going any further from that. We will end up going down. I do imagine the Lynx will be able to clean this one up since there's no more Omegas available. Nicely done there from Tier 5 Stage 3 Holo. Once again, that 71 TPI Lynx going to do some work. And we do have the chance of surviving. Come on, Kuka. Let's not be a one and done. Let's fight with you again. Mozart doing triage. Do we get to play again? We do get to play again. So that's awesome. Kuka's coming in for another run. We do get 12 bones added to this pack, or to this potential pack. Happy to have that as well. So far, not doing too bad. But it does make an incredible difference with, say, Holos, Dark Holos, and all that. When I'm looking, like, I did a run, I meant to do it for a content piece. I had an extra Holo Kukaraf and an extra Holo Axodon that I put through the gauntlet, so to speak, here in Deathmatch. Because I wanted to see just how crazy could a fully evolved Tier 1, so a relatively common fully evolved Tier 1, how long could they go into free mode? And they did very well. They did not beat my personal best, but they came very, very close. My personal best here, if I move out of the way, is still that Seaforus from launch week. My launch week Seaforus is still my best performing Illuvial in terms of bone collecting, 232 onto that Seaforus. But I've had a couple of those Holos get very close, so we'll see. Maybe I'll get a new personal best sometime in the future, but for now, we're still rocking with the Holos that we do end up having, even if they aren't fully evolved. Kuka, come on back through. Where do we want to go? Wasn't necessarily a bad spot last time by. Do we want to mix it up by chance, though? Because while a Kuka Raph is extremely tanky, or surprisingly tanky, given the nature of that Illuvial, I cannot necessarily say the same here for Kuka themselves. It's relatively squishy and has a hard time defending itself. So we're going to try one more time here. See if we can get a little bit more out of this Kuka. This is just a different lobby in progress here, so we'll get a quick water break. Standard check. It's down to 8. Did a match happen? Let's actually take a look. Did we recently get one? We did have one from 2 minutes ago. Let's watch this match unfold. This one, of course, this is in the standard mode. This is where actual skulls are being spent, which, of course, is real life money. So let's take a look, and we're going to be seeing a Dark Holo Kuka Raph once again going to potentially be set up to be the terror here into this fight. You see that purple shine on it, that's when you know that is a very rare Illuvial at that. Dark Holo. If Holos are shiny, Dark Holos are essentially super shiny. They're even rarer than that. We're seeing a couple early kills here. Halagon, Matango, Mothbuck, and Axe Billionaire, but all going to be out of here very quickly. The TB Ruko versus the Lynx, very close. The Lynx going to end up getting that. The big Dark Holo Kuka Raph, though, absolutely slaughtered on the left-hand side. And it's full health going into a perfect spot to just third party in and clean things up. This isn't even close. Incredible stuff coming out of Tipsy's Dark Holo Kuka Raph. Fury's Lynx, I mean, it's not a bad Lynx at all. It's going to put up a decent fight, but it will end up going down. I do not see a world where that Lynx chews through that much bird. And incredible once again here for Tipsy. Now, of course, with it being the standard mode, the death rates are lower. It's not as likely to get killed permanently, but it can still absolutely happen. So Fury's gonna get second, Sergio gonna get third, just about a buck almost for the both of them there. For the win here for Tipsy, that Kuka Raph getting about $1.15 for prizing that time by. But in regards to deaths, we did see the loss of Ballistics TB Ruko, so it's a fully evolved state or fully evolved tier 1 gonna end up falling. And then Axe Billionaire's poor little Totopi, a little snail, gonna end up falling here as well. Blazin', good to see you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Now, did my free mode match go already? It looks like it has. So let's take a look and see how it went. Now, this time we went up to the top, but we do have an Archie, potentially a Valente. Yeah, the Valente is going to dive on me here as well. So yeah, if this was a Kuka Raph, I would not be as nervous as I am right now, because it'd be so tanky that I could probably take this fight, or at least get close to taking it. But with it just being the poor little Kuka, I'd be surprised if we do actually live this, and sure as hell, nope, we're not going to be able to do so. Going to end up falling in 7th this time by for that fight. Ethan and their Lynx is going to end up finally going down here on the right-hand side, but it's got another Lynx as well with Cyberset. Furies has the Rye. Matango has that lesser Air Valente. Look at them maybe make the upset here up against this Lynx. Of course, the Lynx is rarer than the Valente, but there is a lot of burst damage still onto that Lynx. It tried its damnedest, but Cyberset going to come away with the win, and we will lose our Kuka this time by. No chance at surviving a 7th place finish. Unfortunate to see that one. We do end up going down. So unfortunately, both the places I was debating on going for would have absolutely got me cooked with some sort of 2 versus 1. But that is another one added into the Graveyard Collection, which of course eventually will go towards my scores. I just have to find, well, the rest of the tier 1s in particular, but we're getting there. We have a handful of them ready to use here today. That's one more Kukaloose to round out the dodos, and that part will be set up and good to go. And next up, something with a little bit more firepower. So this could very well be our opportunity to go on a run, or we're just going to be cooked and I'm completely full of it. We'll have to see, because we have one of my personal favorites, TNT, coming into the battlefield. TNT, basically a battle mage of sorts. While it is a caster, it's a relatively tanky one. Not when it's the Tatofi, when it's just its baby form. But TNT is when you start to actually get a little bit tanky. Seaforus is the really tanky one, but that's not until full evolution, so you're not going to get that super easily. And then what I'm actually going to do is take a quick peek at the global results and see where I should maybe potentially consider firing off an Illuvial. I think I have one in mind, so let's try that again. Got to go back to the graveyard. And let's see how it goes. One thing that was talked about in the feedback for Deathmatch chat on the Illuvium Discord, I found really interesting and oddly really exciting, and I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't been implemented already, because this is honestly how I thought that Deathmatch was going to be in the first place. I mean, I'll talk about it in a second here. My TNT's loading in. Okay, this could be better, but it's not a worst-case scenario. We're going to be able to third-party onto a fully evolved Link, so we're going to be able to take a very deadly threat from Tier 5, Stage 3 Holo, help take them out, and the Lynx actually went towards the center instead of coming to get us. Best-case scenario, we get first blood. This TNT, no matter what, will live to fight another day. But we do have some scary Illuvials up ahead of us here. Heck, even this Doka is doing a great job. We're going to finally be able to take care of it. Top 5 now. But I'm specifically looking at that Seer in the dead center from Axe Billionaire. It might be what looks like low on health, but the Seer fully evolved Tier 4, it has a ton of health. TNT Omega doing some decent damage, but again, of course, that Seer heals every single time it fires off its Omega, and it looks like it'll be able to actually take care of us in a second, unless we can heal for just a little bit longer. Oh my god, we got the kill before the Kling got there. We're going to make it into the top 2. Do we actually finish this? This is Ether we're going up against here with this Kling. Very close, both Omegas used. We need another crit. We're not going to get it. Ethit's going to clean us up here. Get 20 bones towards them. Nicely done there, Ethit. But again, we did get first blood, and getting first blood in a fight guarantees you a revival. So we'll happily bring our TNT back for another go-round. And that's a good little payday there for some bones. There we go. Big jump. 16 coming on through. One more good round. We need a 3rd place, and we can get our next pack. And then that's essentially the gist of like the general game loop here for Deathmatch, for at least the free mode anyway. A lot of the Illuvials that you're just kind of completely willing to part ways with. Having an opportunity here with free mode to be able to recycle Illuvials, so to speak, as long as you're playing carefully and not just being super reckless, eventually you can get more packs out of it. But of course, it's not a guarantee either, because again, this is all a game of chance. So as always, make sure you're playing responsibly, considering the gambly chance nature of this game. Cannot stress that enough. Alright, TNT. We did pretty good the first time around. How do we do second time? Yeah, one thing that was being talked about with, let's see if I can get this thought up for the next one, otherwise we'll pause after the next game. But when I first heard of Deathmatch and heard of how it was going to run, part of me thought like there was going to be scheduled mini-events of sorts with Deathmatch. So like, hey, there might be queues happening for regular games like how free mode is. But hey, standard, 7 o'clock tonight. Make sure you sign up for our like massive battle royale, like mini tournament of sorts. Maybe take the Illuvials in like, obviously it depends on how many players are playing and whatnot and how many actually enter. But having like mini brackets of sorts, seeing how far they can go, and then make those like a bigger payout. You can keep the entry fees low, because the chance of them actually surviving multiple matches is obviously going to be very low. But some sort of event-based style that you can actually build storylines for and like make super exciting. If there is ever a setup for, like, say, 20-player lobbies or 50-player lobbies or the 100-player lobbies that they've talked about before, I hope they'd be set up something like that instead of just kind of throwing them off like how advanced mode is, where you can kind of queue up if you want to, but I mean, the likelihood of a game actually happening is slim to none. Alright, we're gonna get swarmed. You have a baby snail coming to try and take me out alongside a lynx, but actually the little snail is helping me with the lynx, so it's not necessarily a worst case scenario. We are not going to get first blood, so we are very low on HP as another lynx is going to come try to mess with us and immediately take us out. So the beautiful Holo TNT will end up being killed off right before it even reaches surprising. And now look at that, the Seer, or the Singe rather, it got completely swarmed. That too is another valuable Illuvial, a tier 4 middle stage evolution going down and forth. There, in fact, it will be killed. So that one is down. It's going to be the Lynx here from tier 5, stage 3 Holo, coming through to clean things up. 75 TPI gets the job done rather nicely. But unfortunately, our beautiful snail will end up being sent to the graveyard. That's to my collection, but I honestly was hoping for maybe 3 rounds out of the thing, but we're not going to get it. But there we go, we at least have it collected. Now I just need to eventually one day maybe run into another steep race. I do not see a world where I'm going to be able to personally like complete the entire collection, not until Obelisk Rising kind of comes out. Because that's, I guess, the big end goal, right? Like, I would love to be able to just, as I'm naturally playing Obelisk Rising, like, here, pause. This is mainly the big game loop that I'm personally seeing myself with for the future. Like, I would love just, when I have a ton of time to sit down, just play Obelisk Rising, catch basically, not everything I see, but catch a ton of Illuvials. And then with all of my extras that I'm not using for Arena or I'm not using for Deathmatch, I then throw the Deathmatch. If I'm feeling competitive in nature and I want to take a break from the MMO grind, hop into Arena. Or if we have a house league or a tournament or an event for Arena, I'll go and compete in Arena, maybe like climb the ranks every once in a while here as well. And then when I can't actually sit at a computer, but I still want to play Illuvium, that's where Deathmatch would come in. Even here. That's the one game where I can win with silence. Hey, you're getting there. There's games that we've had in Arena over the last couple of days where you're absolutely no slouch. So please, keep pushing. Give yourself some credit. And it does not help. I know my average level for Arena is like 41, 42. And I can make many mistakes and still win, which is definitely unfortunate, but it's the nature of Arena. You're getting there. Absolutely getting there. Okay, next up is going to be a lesser monk here. We got absolutely clapped last time we went to the bottom left, so I'm going to go up to the top. A little bit of a mixed bag up in the top as of late, so we'll see how this one goes. We got a match nice and quick. Do I run into something right away? Yeah, I do, and it's going to be scary. Allura coming out here. How do I even pronounce that name? Nissile? Nissile 54? Going to be a little bit tough, but thankfully there is a TB Ruko here to potentially help me whip this Lura, but then the problem is that I'm going to then have to go up against the TB Ruko. So that's not necessarily a great thing, all things considered. The fact that we got the kill was really nice, though. Big heal, of course. You heal a quarter of your HP when you get the kill shot onto something, and because of that, we might be able to snowball this into a better position. Get the T-Ru out of here as well. We're going to third party in. We absolutely have a health advantage, but that, again, is going to be Tier 5 Stage 3 Holo. They're Lynx. We know this thing is powerful, but the Monk Gear is going to get us the win. There we go. 20 bones coming on through. The Lesser Monk Gear already doing way better than I thought it would. So awesome job there for the Monk Gear. That TB Ruko helping us with the Lura, though, I think saved us the fight. So I do believe... What was the TPI of this thing? 68. Like, that was a tough Lura. So the fact that the Lura could help me with the TB Ruko, and then the TB Ruko helped me with the Lura, really helped me get lucky to get this win. And now we have enough bones for our pack, so we're going to absolutely get on that in just a second. I'm going to load up another round here in just a moment and then go. Let's do the slightest of adjustments and then try again. See our next pack for the bones. We get a Seer. That is a huge pickup, and a Rampy. That is actually incredible. Fully evolved tier 4, and the Rampy, a baby tier 5. Some of the rarer Illuvials that you could find here in Illuvium. That is absolutely fantastic. I'm very happy with that. But I'm going to pause. I'm not necessarily certain that I'm going to use these with Deathmatch. So I'm going to hang on for a second, because if I do recall correctly... In fact, here, let me fact check myself real fast here, actually. Here, screw it, we do it live. Let me fix that real fast. Before I even consider using anything for Deathmatch, I check two things. First off, of course, as per usual, incoming spreadsheet flashbang. Coming on through here in just a second. 3, 2, 1, watch your eyes. Of course, I have my entire arena team here loaded in. So the first thing I want to take a look at is that Rampy. That Rampy, or mine currently that I did get from Bond Daddy Ratty, was a 79 TPI one. Meanwhile, the one I got here in Deathmatch is 68, so okay. It's not an upgrade for my team. How about the Seer? 45 TPI for that one. If I hop back over here, my Seer is a 66 TPI one that was given to me by Dr. Spoon. So both of these Illuvials, I can take solace in noting that these are not upgrades. So I could potentially use them for Deathmatch, but I'm going to check one more thing. And that's, of course, the Community Rescue. One of the things that I am currently in progress of working on. And I'm taking a look. Does Rampy have at least 3 available? Yes, so in theory, I would feel okay with keeping this one for myself for Deathmatch. However, the Seer, I can send this Seer back and we'll be set rather nicely for Caribou Cup, for when the newcomers are playing in House League and are looking to level up their collections just by playing. Seers were a very sought-after Illuvial that I did not have enough of before. I'm happy to have been able to send one earlier today, and what I'm actually going to do as well, as much as I'm sure this Seer could probably pull some weight in Deathmatch, I'm going to send this one to the wallet. And I will send that to the Community Rescue, so that it could be used for Caribou Cup. We'll keep the Rampy, because there's already 3 available. I feel happy about that part. But not the Seer. I would not feel right if I got rid of the Seer in that instance. Here, let me full screen this again. There, so Caribous. Seers are on the menu for this week. Sweet. And now, because of course that monk here won the fight, we can go play with it again. And then for those that might kind of just be joining us here... Oh, did the monk here die? Does winning still count? Okay, so it says it's collected this cycle, but if I recall correctly, I did not lose that monk here. It won the game, right? Oh, wait, no, I loaded one up. Okay, so I kind of spoiled myself, and it's this one. I forgot I loaded one up before I opened the pack. Okay, so my bad there. So we know that this one died, but let's see if it was able to at least get us a little something on the way out. How did the positioning work this time? It was up by itself, actually, all lonesome up in the top. But what was its first contender? That T-Roo is going to make me a little bit nervous. Guaka, see you lingering there, ready to take me down. But we're going to get the jump onto this Lynx, which does make me happy. That is a very scary Illuvial to have to go up against quickly. Can we finish off the Lynx? We will absolutely be able to do so. How about this Tiru. I mean, we've got the damage, but those crits are pretty nasty. We're in the top 5, but I don't see us actually getting much further than that. Sure enough, that is going to be 4th, and that's why the monk here died, and that's why it was in the graveyard. That definitely does make sense, but looking at the other Illuvials that were there, Communiac with the slapping, that would have been a tough fight. That little Tiru you can never sleep on, and then Ratty Data just straight up has a geyser in the middle of free mode here coming on through. That is a tier 4 fully evolved Illuvial, who's just meant to be a big boy, and they're going to be able to win that one rather nicely. And then, yeah, we do end up losing our monk here. We did get at least 2. I thought this thing was going to be a one and done, so I'm very happy that we were able to get, like, 2 matches worth of prizes onto that one. Good on you, monk here. Yeah, to anybody who doesn't necessarily know what the little community rescue is that I'm working on, basically for the Illuvium Arena House League that I do run, as a part of the newcomers group, as a part of the Caribou Cup. So these are all people who are coming into play arena who either don't have any Illuvials whatsoever, have maybe a couple of Illuvials, but no matter what, they're not leveled up very much. So any of the newcomers coming on through, they'll get to play in Caribou Cup, and just by signing up, you get access to the community rescue, where every single week that you play, I will then look into your team, into your account, see what you're missing, and then depending on where you finish in Caribou Cup, I will give you either 1 Illuvial if you had a bit of a rough time, or like didn't place very well, or you're just kind of getting started. But as you start doing better and better in Caribou Cup, you get more Illuvials or rarer Illuvials. And what was happening for the last little bit is that we did have starter decks, but eventually those starter decks that I put together, the players outgrew them. They were able to win and like got all of them already. So that's where the community rescue comes through, whether it be through community donations, which a big thank you, of course, to everybody who sent Illuvials to my separate Silent Events account, which handles the community rescue and all the prizing for House League. Helped us get basically at least 2 of every single Illuvial. And then when we get 3, that then allows me to send them off as prizes for Caribou Cup. Why do I keep 2 of each, though? So, I'm probably overthinking it. And honestly, this is a scenario where I hope it never actually happens. But of course, with Deathmatch, Illuvials are genuinely getting killed off here. And even as it stands right now, certain Illuvials are very tough to find on the Illuvidex. And you have to either rip packs endlessly to try to get them, or you have to go onto the Illuvidex and use a crypto transaction to purchase said Illuvial individually. But the people selling them obviously aren't stupid. They realize they're rare, and getting 1 Illuvial might cost you an arm and a leg. So, to prevent a species from ever going extinct, first off, one of the things that I'm recommending for Illuvium is have some sort of breeding system into the game. There's talks about it potentially coming in Obelisk Rising, but what I personally would want more is for breeding to come through Illuvium 0, the city builder of Illuvium, and allow us to not kill off the parents when breeding, but allow us to keep species alive. And that's why I want to keep 2 Illuvials of every single type, because if there is ever a breeding-esque kind of system, I want to be there to help keep every single species alive. I don't want to flood the markets, I don't want to use them for my own markets or anything along those lines. I just want to make sure that a player that starts in 2027 still has access to the exact same Illuvials that were around in 2024, 2025, 2026, so on and so forth. And with Obelisk Rising, it is still going to be set 1 coming out, or when it comes out, rather. So there's not going to be any new Illuvials. They're not going to be stopping the Illuvials from being caught, per se. But if there's ever any point where players run the market down so badly through Deathmatch and kill off all of a certain Illuvial, we can keep them alive. Keep that species alive. So that's the goal of the community rescue. All right. All right, so next one to add to the collection, we got a middle stage evolution. We've got the Greater Gorilla coming into the fight this time by. Let's take a look at the global results. I've been yapping for a little bit, so where should I place my dude? That is the question. I think I see a spot. Spot that I'm relatively comfortable with. And with this being a middle stage evolution that's also Holo, I am content that it can win a 1v1 versus low-level Illuvial. Or not low-level, but like lower tiers. But there is still absolutely the worry about getting ganged up upon. Like we're seeing this poor monk here in this next fight. Oh my god, this poor thing's going to be eliminated immediately. Poor Clark and A to the G. Their Illuvials just both got absolutely swarmed. And that can just happen. There's nothing you can do about that, right? It's just the nature of the game. Tier 5 got let through into this one here as well. That is a very tough to find Illuvial every once in a while. The foe might be just a baby, but still tier 5. And now here comes our match with the gorilla. Okay, the Lynx. This is tier 5 stage 3 Holo, but at least it's not a Holo. At least it isn't 75 TPI. So I do believe we might be able to win this one. It's going to take a lot of damage, but hopefully the healing comes through. There it goes. And maybe we can get the jump onto this drop bear. The little Chuko coming on through. Whose Chuko is this guy? If I can come on through, Max is going to come through, and he's actually going to beat me. So we are again going to fall in fourth, which on one hand is going to give us bones, but you cannot survive a loss of fourth place. So we are going to lose this gorilla immediately. That definitely sucks. I was hoping to at least get 2 rounds out of that gorilla, and we are not going to be able to do so. Shoutouts to Max, though. There you go. That Chuko went on an absolute tear, and it wasn't even necessarily the fanciest little fella. Way to go with it, Chuko. But we will take the 8 bones and call that one there. But we still have a handful more Illuvials to go here. I'm quickly going to check on the standard mode. Do they happen to have had a match relatively recently? They did, actually. But it looks like it might be a case of the same old song and dance. Let's take a look, because of course we did see Tipsy and their Dark Holo Kukaraf tear through the last fight. And I'm wondering if we're going to see a little bit more of the same. There it is, hollowed out in the corner, that nice purple flare attached to it. That wasn't a part of the game originally. Nicely done there, developers. But that Kukaraf's going to go on an absolute tear in theory. A little Grocko getting thrown into here. So yeah, these might be tier 0 Illuvials, but people are still putting money onto their Illuvial. Their tier 0 potentially getting the win here. Grocko gonna get the kill there. Did the Grocko get the first? Grocko got the first blood onto that one. That's actually kind of crazy. But what terrifies me is, first off, this Singe, I believe this is, over in the top. Ballistics got that one. But again, we've seen the Kukaraf, the Dark Holo Kukaraf here. This isn't actually Tipsy. This is tier 5 stage 3 Holo pulling this one out this time by. And it looks like it's going to just get completely everything it wants on this right-hand side. It's going to come down to a final fight between Ballistics and Singe, and then the Kukaraf coming up here from stage 5, tier 5, stage 3 Holo. I always screw that name up at least once or twice a stream, I swear to God. But that is going to be what looks like the Kukaraf's just cleaning up here. This is a big example of what you can do with the power of Holo. Because in Arena, Holo and Dark Holo is just a cosmetic. There is no power bonuses there. But in Deathmatch, that is much different. Of course, the Dark Holo nature of that Kukaraf allows it to have 30% additional stats compared to a traditional Kukaraf of the same type of stats. And like we can see here, this one, it's already solid. It's a 77 TPI Kukaraf. So an above average one, also being Dark Holo, just means that this thing is in such a great spot to potentially shred. But of course, at least here for the standard mode, the chance at death is way lower. So we get to see Ballistics and Singe come on through and hang on for another fight. Same thing here with the Ace from Fury and this TNT from Inspector Vault. And of course, the Grocko that got first blood from Cycled. But we're seeing a lot of dead Illuvials here as well. Couple Holos being killed off, 3 Holos actually being killed off, and the Lynx. So a relatively bloody standard mode battle that time by. And we should, in theory, now have a match to go check out. Or did I not set one up, actually? Oh, I didn't set one up yet. I thought I did. No, maybe not. Alright. I'm losing track of myself here. We do still have a couple more to go here. Enough to do our usual stream duration, I do believe. I tend to go till about 5:30, so we've got another half-hour worth of graveyard fill-in. But I'd also love to be able to just maybe keep those Illuvials and just keep collecting some bones. Let's see if Tiruro could maybe be an upset maker, so to speak. Now, of course, Tiruro is very much so glass cannon. It's not the tankiest fella, and it does not have any healing on its Omega. But what it does have is burst damage, or single target burst damage, and single target, or self rather, attack speed buff. Giving themselves an attack speed steroid. So, in a one-on-one, they can make some upsets. But again, if they get swarmed at all, they're in a rough spot. Excuse me, sorry about that. 24 bones in the pocket as well, so well on our way to potentially getting another pack. It would be awesome to be able to get at least one more pack here before we close out stream. Still got a half hour though, of course. And then it's still fun. Like, I don't get to touch Illuvium Deathmatch too often. The standard mode doesn't happen fast enough to warrant just a commentary stream. And then I usually don't have extra Illuvials. The only reason I had extra Illuvials today was because I had some fuel saved up from past leaderboard rewards from Arena. And I did decide to kind of spoil myself a little bit and use it for the sake of making content. So we were able to do that through the auto drone runs. I also was able to sneak in a few arena upgrades, which was rather nice. But, like, deathmatch is fun, just it's not something that I can always fire on through and do super often. This initial positioning has me pretty happy. Tiruro off up against that little Latipo. We do not get first blood, so now it's going to be the one-on-one with me and Sergio. And Sergio does have that exalted gorilla, who is also built to single target nuke. We are going to 100% get clobbered here. Going to be keeping an eye on that gorilla in just a couple of moments as this fight continues, as it probably snowballs through the rest of this field. I mean, that Verminio definitely got to be careful of as well. We have a little small fight to the bottom left as well. Tipo, Caribou, and Kuka all duking it out. But meanwhile, the big one that I'm mainly worried about, because I believe this one in the top right, whoever wins this ends up winning this entire damn thing, in my opinion. Jub versus Sergio. Hector with that little Caribou, I mean, holding their own up against the Kuka. Stun from the Kuka slows things down. And there it goes. Kuka gonna end up taking care of Hector's Caribou. But now Jub's Verminio up against the Kuka for a one-on-one to finish this off. The Verminio just has so much more options with its Omega. I imagine it'll be able to blow things down very quickly. There it goes. So that sure changed quickly. I was looking for that gorilla, but it ended up getting, I think, either 4th or 5th. So it will, or it would have gotten killed off, rather, if it didn't get first blood. For us, however, we died super quickly running in the Sergio, so we will absolutely be losing our Tiruro, adding it to the graveyard. I'm very thankful I have plenty of extra Tiruros. If I recall correctly, the tree kangaroos as a whole, I think I have just so many holos for, just from my time in Overworld when I used to be able to run around, and because I would do a lot of running around in Stage 1. Stage 3 was always way too rich for my blood. I could never justify going for those runs. I never had the supplies. I couldn't run it enough to make it worth it, so I'd always take the risk on Stage 1 runs. And with that, I found a lot of Tier 1 holos or shinies. So still thankful nonetheless there for T-Vero's efforts, but sadly, yeah, we got absolutely clapped there. Alright, Chuko. As I was just talking about tier 1s that are just constantly coming on through, well, this is yet another one going to be joining us here in just a second's time. I think I unironically have maybe like 13 Holo Chukos. Yeah, so I'm not going to be disappointed if this one gets killed off, but I'd love to be able to score some bones, as always. This is a live fight as it's current, or going live as we speak. Again, I'm looking at this Relentless Links that's about to get taken down. Little baby Chuko, there we go. But what about the stabbing? This is what I'm kind of worried about here. Minecraft coming on through for the one-on-one here with the Chuko. I imagine there's just enough attack speed and healing coming out from the stabbing to be able to get this done. Because, yeah, sure, Chuko has a little bit of burst damage, but it doesn't have a self-heal. It doesn't have attack speed buffs. It's fantastic at picking up stray shots from using its Omega. But in one-on-ones, it can absolutely fall apart a little bit. So it's something we're going to have to worry about when we play our own Chuko here in just a couple of moments. Now, oddly enough, we don't have a match actually just yet. But 2 lobbies basically going at all times. On this one here, somebody straight up threw a mammoth. That's kind of crazy, but here are matches coming around right now. Alright, positionally, this isn't too bad, but I'm concerned where that Doka goes. Is it going to come towards me? No, it's going the other way. So we get the third party in onto this battle right off the rip. And I think our AoE is big enough to actually hit the Appon. That would be an absolute best case scenario here for our little Chuko. Our first Mega coming through, steals the kill from the Appon. It didn't hit the Appon in terms of damage, but we did get the heal for stealing the kill, which means we'll line up yet another one. Just like that, we are still full health going into this top 5. Shot on, oh, kill steal onto the Grocko. This is lining up absolutely beautifully here for our little Chuko. That Lynx, though, does get a big heal, getting the kill that time. AoE coming on through, and of course the Lynx, while also having single target burst, does have some healing attached to that Omega. So this is still a very close fight. We do end up getting clapped. A big crit coming out from that Relentless Lynx from Minecraft. So what looked like an absolute sure thing absolutely got shut down thanks to that Lynx. And from what looked like maybe another run, could be permadeath. Yep, just like that. One little turn of fortune, one crit changed the game here for my Chuko from going on an absolute legendary run to being one and done, which absolutely hurts, but we'll absolutely be happy with the 16 bones as well. About halfway now to getting a new pack. Okay, Holo. Next on the docket is going to be one that I'm honestly thinking we're going to have a tough time with. Railu getting ready to come play. And why do I say that it's going to be a rough time? Because I personally believe that the Rai line as a whole, so all of your red pandas, are probably some of the worst Illuvials in the game in regards to Deathmatch due to its lack of any form of burst damage. While it does have above average attack speed, above average attack damage, and pretty decent health, all things considered, the only thing its Omega does is heal itself. And in a game where you can get a quarter of your health back just by getting a kill, getting kill secures, having some sort of burst damage to finish the fight, can make or break your run. So I don't have high hopes here for our dear hollowed out Railu, but I would love to be wrong. Let's take a look at this current lineup. We might be able to go after an Atipo and third party in on a couple of fights, so this isn't necessarily a bad scenario, all things considered. We're going to skip the Atipo and just go directly into the Atlas, which honestly might be the scarier of the options. Is that a hollowed out one? In fact, nope, that's me. That is not. So Inspiring Doka. Still holding line very well, and like, look at this though, the Atlas is being able to do AoE damage and heal itself anyway. And the Atipo is now on top of us, so I would doubt that we're going to even make it into the top 5. I knew this one would be tough, and it looks like we're going to end up going down in just a second. There it goes. We do at least make 5th, but we're absolutely not keeping that Railu. It's going to end up dying. Considering we're going up against a Fury and an Axon at the same time. This Atipo is an absolute freaking legend, though. The Lesser Nature Atipo on an absolute legendary run. 19 TPI. This Atipos are bad in the first place. A 19% TPI Atipo is even crazier. So shoutouts to Max. Your Atipo is an absolute freaking legend. Going up against Cyberset's Axon, but the Axon will turn this around in just a moment's time, I can promise you that. But an Atipo that should be killed off extremely quickly is going to get all the way up to 2nd. It took the Axon to come on over and actually focus it down. And then our poor little red panda will end up getting clapped this time by. No chance of revival for 5th place, but we will take a couple of bones home. Not going to be many, though. I know they changed this. Yeah, it's only 4 now, so we get something, but it's very, very minimal. But yeah, I knew that one would be a tough time. Some sort, like, for Riley at least. What would have made sense to me, of course, with Riley, if you think of Arena, Riley, it steals attack damage, and it heals itself. So the fact that it heals itself in Deathmatch makes sense to me. However, I am very surprised it at least doesn't behave like the Stab-In, where it doesn't do any upfront burst damage, but it at least gets an attack speed buff. That's what would make sense to me, and that would make the Red Pandas much better, in my opinion, compared to what I'd argue is the absolute trash tier that they're in right now. Which is too bad, because I love the Red Pandas. I don't want to, like, call them bad because, like, I don't like them. No, I absolutely love the Red Panda line. But they are very underwhelming to me, to say the least. Okay, we have no more tier 2s to go through, or at least the Holo side of things, so we can now start to break into a couple tier 3s to round up the day, and I think we're going to finish things off with a Fern. It's tier 4 going to be our final one of the day, but we still got a couple more. Let's start off with the Little Rip. Riptor going to be coming on in for this next fight. But where do we want to go? I'd argue that our positioning wasn't bad, we just had no actual way of securing a kill. So it was more so an alluvial issue. I'm hoping that maybe this time by we can find ourselves a bit of a better result. There we go. 3 matches live of free mode. That's actually pretty healthy, if I do say so myself. Good to see everybody here. This is going to be scary. We're going to need the help of the Lynx of Aqua Squawk to be able to win this one. Oh, it actually went after it. We can actually jump and maybe help Squawk for a little bit. That is going to be a Relentless Lynx right in the middle. Let me full screen this. I'm still casting on the small screen. There we go. A good start. We're full health going into this one with Squawk. Nicely done, Little Rip. Keep on pushing, my friend. Going after this Archos next. Can we maybe get a kill steal onto this Relentless Lynx? We do, in fact, do so. So we're going to then be able to clean up Ratty-Data's Lynx. And there's so many low health bars. Our Riptor is on an absolute tear. And we'll clean up this fight beautifully while being at full HP. Let's go, Little Rip. And 58 TPI onto this little guy, but it is Holo. So finally, might be hitting the rarities just high enough where we can really start to see some value, or we just straight up got lucky, which of course, with this being a chance-based game, is probably more than likely the cause. As always, while we might be winning our winning some bones, do remember, as always, that this is a game of chance, and the Illuvials you're playing with, whether you got them through Deathmatch, whether you got them from a friend, whether you got them from auto drones, they do have some sort of monetary value and sentimental value as well, so please do make sure that you're never playing with something that you cannot afford to lose. Know your limits, please play responsibly. Riptor's next match is going to come on through. I got a little bit greedy and just fired it into the exact same spot as last time. I'm curious if it'll work. I mean, it's not a bad case. I think Spartek Hype's Lynx is going to go after the Cling of Mothbug or of Monster, but the two of us together might be able to burst this thing down, even though it's Holo. If we could do it quickly, that'd be absolutely incredible, too, because this Lynx is doing enough damage to the point where this Cling is going to be easy pickings. Oh, it does get a heal, so my Riptor is going to be jumped on, but it's low enough. We clean things up while taking no damage. There we go. Jub's Lynx, Spartek's Lynx are going to fall. And now we get to go farm a Flish, potentially. I mean, the Doka's right there, and that's an Exalted Fire Doka. Let's take a look and see the stats on this one. It's not Holo, but it is 45 TPI. We will clean this up. So for the first time today, we have 2 wins in a row. Little Rip is on an absolute tear. There we go, Little Riptor is. Or Little Riptor. Alright, gladly take that one. And when it's going good, it's going great. But of course, can never bank on it always staying that way. It's on the moments where... or the moments of euphoria are usually when you make your biggest mistakes. Slight adjustments going into this one. I didn't want to use the same location 3 times in a row. Especially there for Spartek. That was a very beautiful Lynx. Hollowed out as well. That just straight up got killed off in 7th just because of positioning. So I imagine they're probably going to move. If they play again. And we'll see. If we can get at least, I think, 2nd, we get a pack. Alright, Riptor's turn. Can we make it 3 in a row here for the little Riptor? We're going immediately up against the Doka. This Doka is going to be Tipsy's, but not Holo. It looks like this is just kind of a tier 0 throwaway. But again, Dokas are surprisingly strong here in Deathmatch, to the point where it's chunked my Riptor already. An absolute slobber knocker between these two, but we will be able to clean up, but we did lose half our health. It is an absolute brawl in the middle here. That Gazatep, or the Quinks rather, from Halagon, is the one I'm actually worried about. Full HP, has some range attached to it as well, and just going to be able to consistently rain on through. The Riptor, or Little Riptor, did be able to get a bit of a heal off of the last hit. There we go. It's going to be close, but I think Halagon might just have our number here. What is the TPI onto this thing? I do wonder. 52 TPI, not Holo, but does not matter. It stayed safe for so long that it was able to absolutely take us down. But the run doesn't have to end there. My luck has not been good for revivals, but can we keep Riptor around? One more time, potentially. No, we're not gonna get it. So Riptor's run is going to stop at 3. That one definitely hurts there. But we do get the 16 bones needed to then go grab another pack. So we'll absolutely take that. Thank you, Riptor. What a run. And this is going to allow us to get, unfortunately, not the greatest amount of stuff. The Exalted Nature Flish tends to be hard to come by. However, I do have one better. So everything here, I do believe, is going to end up going to Deathmatch. I'm just quickly taking a look at my community rescue for tier 0s, because sometimes tier 0s are also needed. That was a Greater Nature Valente. We have 4 of those, so that part's fine. Exalted Nature Flish. We have 5 of those. Okay, yeah, so we're in great shape for those 2. So everybody here will stick with me here in Deathmatch. But shoutouts to the little Rip that was able to get us some more Illuvials. It was a good little run. Alright, a hollowed out Slapping. That's going to be next on the menu here. Gazatep, thank you. Where do we change up potentially? We were able to barely get out of that one-on-one with a Doka, oddly enough, which kind of scares me. slightest of adjustments a little bit higher up than the last time. Let's see if that works. Oh, are we going to have an Atipo run right here? Tipsy with this Atipo. All the way around. Okay, no, never mind. We had a match come up quickly. I was going to say, that's the best case scenario. When you get your Atipo placed in there, you're expecting nothing of it. And it's on the opposite side of the map. You're smiling. One thing I'm not smiling about, of course, though, is this app-on that I believe is Hector's right next to me. Or is it not Hector's? No, Hector's is down here. Whose is this about to fall? That's going to be Squawk's. But now Spartek is coming for a little bit of revenge after my Riptor took care of their Lynx, it looks like. But we do have the attack speed to potentially shred this Lynx down before it gets on Omega. Maybe? No, it's not going to be the case. A very close fight, but we will survive. No guarantee that we win this unless maybe can we get a kill onto this Atipo before the Omega comes through. No, it is going to go over to the Lynx. So the slap-in will end up getting second this time. A valiant effort, but will end up falling. Cyber set on an absolute tear during the stream. Multiple wins for them in these past couple matches. Can we actually keep this thing around, though? We've been killing them off over and over again. Can we please have Slappin' one more time? We do actually get it one more time, at least. So there we go. Finally, not a one and done here for a couple of these holos, or for this holo. Was not getting lucky for a while. Finally, a little bit of a change of pace. No, those aren't them. Oh, I guess that worked out. Remember how I said earlier that I needed an Exalted Flish? Riptor getting that Flish from the pack was the difference maker, so I can actually use this now. And we can score some more points in the graveyard. Thanks to Riptor getting me what I was going to call a garbage pack, or a lackluster pack. But no, seriously, getting that Flish was an absolute big deal. So this, in theory, completes my Tier 0 collection. Not the Holo, but the Standard. Get another 150 points. And there we go. That worked out actually very, very well. We'll get back with Slappin' in just a second here. I imagine my Flish is probably going to get cooked, but we'll see. Based off of this positioning, we're going up against a Grocko. Anytime we're going up against a Grocko, I treat it like it's a Tier 4 because it's a fantastic Illuvial. Missile, I imagine, is going to be able to take us out here. Just an Omega to... Yeah, we're already down to a quarter. We will 100% be cooked. But that's alright. That completes the graveyard. That's a nice little pickup. Still happy about that one, all things considered. Is this Grocko just going to go on an absolute tear and win everything? I mean, they do have to deal with this Lynx here. Halagon does have an okay Lynx coming on through. Yeah, this Grocko's taking every single kill. Look at this AoE that's going to come on through. This is the tank, and it actually just bursts down that Lynx. Incredible stuff coming out here from the Earth Grocko of what I'm calling Missile. I'm probably mispronouncing your name, so I do apologize about that, but I don't see Squawk's Caribou coming back from this. Yeah, it has a little bit of an AoE stun, but that's basically it. So I don't feel so bad losing to the Grocko now, considering it just went on an absolute tear. But we do lose the Exalted Flish extremely quickly. But again, the positive side of things is now, in theory, that should be another set here. Yeah, pretty much completely collected. Just need to find a few more Illuvials now to potentially do it again. And it'll come with time. No, let's go back to the graveyard Holo style. And then we have, again, Slappin'. That's where we were. Alright, Slappin'. Let's try this again. Came close to winning the first time. Didn't necessarily work out for it, but that's okay. Standard check. Did anybody play? Oh, they're up to 9. They're pretty close. And that jackpot is still 150 bucks, so that's pretty crazy. The fact that thing has not been won in over 2 weeks. I believe that's the longest it's ever gone. Okay, right off the rip, I'm going up against a monk here. This monk here coming out here from Squawk. 54 TPI onto this one, but I get my attack boost extremely quickly. So we're going to be able to chip on through before that stun comes out. So this is the best kind of scenario here for my little slap-in, because the stun is not interrupting my bonus attack speed at all. So we're going to be able to chew through this monk here, get a quarter of our HP back, and then go to get this Kling, who is also very high on HP. But am I going to be the one third-partied on? It does look like that is going to be the case. My poor little slap-in needs to kill onto this Kling quickly. It's not going to happen. So Minecraft and their Kling going to keep themselves into this game. And then the Gorilla come on through here as from Missile as well. Going to just absolutely clean up. When it's able to just get these single target fights, it does absolutely flourish. Another fantastic run here from Missile. Or Nissel. With that being a 5th place finish, that is going to be the end of the run here for our Slappin'. No chance of revival on that one. Unfortunate, it's just 4 bones, and that shall be all, but we'll take them. And I think I have one more holo to add to the collection here. Right down here, I have this final one, a tier 4 baby with the Fern. I was very fortunate to have gotten, I think, 3 Ferns in just a couple of auto drones, so it was kind of crazy. So it does put me in a fortunate position to be able to use this Illuvial for a deathmatch. Where do we go? Give it a try over here again. With it being a tier 4 ranged kind of unit, I would definitely hope to get at least 1 round or more than 1 round out of it. Its TPI I do not believe is very great, but having the range, having the stun, attack speed, it has what it needs to actually be successful. Just can it actually perform when it matters? Alright, there we are, Fern. For potentially the last time today, let's see what we can do. Fern, coming on through in the bottom left-hand corner, is going to have that Kuka coming on through from Aqua Squawk, and my Fern does not care, which means this Kuka is going to have free reign to just absolutely wail on me. First blood goes over to Hector, so that's a little unfortunate, but now finally my Fern can turn and burn onto this Kuka. We get the attack speed, we get stunned basically immediately, losing a lot of value from that attack speed buff. Lots of damage coming on through. We are actually going to end up falling here super early, aren't we? It's a tier 4, but it does not matter. It got cooked positionally, and it will end up going down in 5th place. Not completely empty-handed, but not with a whole heck of a lot either. What's scary, though, on the other side, we see a Blotto from Mixine. An absolutely nice one at that. Super, super tanky fella, and Riptor does not have the same Omega that it has in Arena, where it could chip away based off of max health, because it would sure as hell be valuable right here, right now, trying to go up against that absolute beast of a Blotto. So congrats to Mixine on the win there. But sadly, the run here for our hollowed out Fern basically ended before it even had the chance to truly begin. The Kuka just essentially was an absolute nuisance to the damn thing. Hate to see it, but that's where the run will go, and of course that is the nature of Deathmatch. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's not all big wins. It's not all those packs that you're working towards pulling you big ticket Illuvials and then getting like some value out that way. It is not always guaranteed, or it's never guaranteed. So once again, I had a lot of fun here today, but I knew what I was getting into. I knew that I was going to be losing some Illuvials, but again, I only used Illuvials that were not only my extras, but would have been massive overflow into the community rescue. None of these Illuvials that I used today were something that I have special fond memories with. And I am completely content with all of the losses that did come my way. So I always, like, again, if you had fun or you want to give this a shot for yourself as well, it is a lot of fun, but just again, please do remember to play responsibly, because as with any sort of game with chance or gambling, there is, of course, the very real risk of addiction. And that's why I keep spewing this over and over and over again, because my time in college esports, I've said this story many times, but it's still very relevant, and I always want to keep spilling it out. I've seen what happens when a player, for example, goes way too crazy on, say, the Counter-Strike the Counter-Strike skins. And how quickly things can deteriorate from having one big win to all of a sudden begging your teammates for food and for rent money. And then sometimes not being used appropriately. So, as always, please make sure you play responsibly. Yes, please do not sell the goddamn house, Sota. I swear to God. Hope you're having a fantastic day, of course. But we will be closing up stream here for today, but that is not going to be the end of streams for this week. We do have much more coming on through. Here's the schedule, so you don't have to pull or look up the YouTube channel. We did our Illuvium Deathmatch here today, but tomorrow we're going to do a little bit of Illuvium Arena theory crafting alongside the Gyro and the Revo in particular. Those Illuvials for the longest time have basically just been dust bots, if I were to put it nicely, where they have their one purpose to give you dust and try to blind somebody, then otherwise it's basically a non-factor. So I'm trying to think of new ways that maybe we can use Revo or Gyro into different into different team compositions, and how it ends up performing into the arena. This also allows me to practice it live as well. It's not just going to be me talking about it. We'll actually then actively throw it into a ranked match with the intention of trying to use that composition, or as close as to that composition as we can get, at least as best as possible. This week in Illuvium, of course, going to be on Wednesday. That's our mini news show where we go over any news surrounding Illuvium and its series of games, or its universe of games. We have a more try-hard style ranked stream going to be happening on Thursday, where I'm just trying to push as hard as possible. We might end up leveling up some Illuvials, but trying to at least get second in every game is the goal. While I am like pretty decent, I have a, say, A-, B+ collection. One thing that I am missing is levels, so I'm never guaranteed to actually get a win, but we'll try our best. Then last but not least, of course, is going to be Illuvium Arena House League. Grow your collection just by playing the game with our House League completely free to enter. If you want to hop into House League this week, in the description of this stream, you will find the sign-up sheet there. Ownership is on and everything, but of course, I take the players and group them up based off of the strength of their collections so that everybody has a close fight or a fair fight. Nobody's going to be completely curb-stomped like you would in, say, ranked mode, especially with how ranked mode used to be. It's gotten a little bit better. It's obviously not going to be perfect, but it's a little bit better than what it used to be. But whether you're brand new or a veteran, you'll find a fantastic fight ahead of you. It'll be an absolute great time nonetheless. So to hear, thanks for the stream. Impressor going all in on Illuvium during the lull. If anything, this is when I feel like I'm needed most. And it's very tough. It's forcing me to get creative with a couple of the games that we have available, so to speak. Like today with Deathmatch. Because... pause. Because what I don't want to happen, because there's nothing wrong with people just streaming their gameplay and then talking over it. that it's absolutely a-okay. We need those people too. Like, I love what Drakian's doing. I love what Big Man JB is doing. And I'm happy that they're also hopping in and like streaming Illuvium, helping it keep alive, especially when I'm offline. But I'm also trying to like look for video ideas, and I also want those ideas to come through with the stream as well. So I always want to have some sort of topic. I never want to just be playing for the sake of playing. Even Thursday, where it's a rank up day, I still feel kind of bad doing streams like that. But I know right now, especially with Illuvium, it is a lull. It's either a calm before the storm or a calm before the death. And I want to try my best to do what I can to give Illuvium its best shot. And if that means Illuvium, say Obelisk Rising rolls out and then February rolls around, it didn't hit the mark, and that's all she goes, that's the end of it all, I'll still take solace with the awesome memories and the experiences we've had together. I can take peace in that. But if all of a sudden Illuvium explodes, I realize I'm also in a pretty decent position. Because I'm not going to be naive. I know if Illuvium does well, bigger creators are going to come on through and then lead the scene. And that's okay. But I'm just having fun no matter where this goes. I'm trying not to think of what happens if it goes down. We'll deal with it when the time comes. But no matter what, I'm just happy to be here day in, day out, just having a good time, hanging out with you all, and just enjoying Illuvium. And especially in these dull times, it's the community that makes this the most like awesome of everything. Like, Illuvium is extremely fun, but getting to talk to all of you day in and day out just makes it just that much better. And then seeing you all compete on Fridays too also makes my day. And the fact too that we did get the announcement that there is at least some sort of additional tournament being worked on for Arena. So it's not like House League and then Ratty Data events are the only things competitively happening. We're still on their radar. There are still good things. The uncertainty kills me. Don't get me wrong. It's not an easy time. But I'm just happy having fun with you all. And that's why, even though it's a lull, I'm okay pushing myself a little bit right here, right now. Because I know it's right now where the community needs it most. So with that, we'll close things out until tomorrow, where we do again have the stream where we're going to be trying some arena theory crafting with Gyro, and then plenty more where that came from. If this is your first time here with the stream, also, I just have to ask as well that if you want to come hang out again, if you could subscribe to the channel. Again, I'm trying to build this channel dedicated to Illuvium. I haven't branched out to other things since late July of last year. I'm having a fantastic time. I'd love to be able to build this as a Illuvium exclusive, and just sub the channel, like the video. It helps me out majorly. So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for some more Illuvium. Take care, everybody.
Woke up tired, didn't sleep all night. Mine's still running like a traffic light. Red for stop and green for go. I'm stuck somewhere in between them both. Brushed my teeth and checked my phone. Everyone looks like they've already grown. Smiling faces, perfect lives. I'm here asking, what am I doing with mine? I don't have a plan, I just have today. Trying not to throw the little good away. Heart's still heavy, but I'm still here. Taking one small step through the fear. I'm tired, but I'm not giving up. I'm scared, but I'm still showing up. One small step is enough today. I'm not fine, but I'm on my way. I'm tired, but I'm not giving up. I'm scared, but I'm still showing up. One small step is enough today. I'm not fine, but I'm on